thought I'd share this fly. It's one that served me really, really well for a very long time actually. And it's a foam hawthorn. It looks the business, but more importantly, it floats. A lot of the hawthorns you'll see they'll sink quite quickly. This one will sit in the surface film, legs below, and because of that foam and the wing there, obviously it's got to sit just in the water. And the key really is the hook. It's quite a heavy hook, so it's got a keel that beds in properly. Just a lot better than most of the Hackle stuff. Far better actually. So the hook I'm going to start with is a Heavyweight Grub. This is a size 10 for the video, but I usually use a 12. Again, like I say, it's just that little bit heavier, so it beds everything into the surface. Just makes the fly sit a lot better. So I'll stick the hook in the vise. I always have it at an angle because I'm not going to use an awful lot of the hook actually. I'll only use a tiny section of the hook to tie on. So I've just got a black thread here. Any black thread will do. This is a 1/0 thing. You see, I'm just going to tie on and let the thread dangle, and it should be opposite the point of the hook. There you go. It's just in line with that. Then my foam. This stuff's key. It's a closed cell foam. So it's a lot more buoyant than most of the foams that you get. And this is black. It's 2.8 millimeter. I'm just going to trim the edges with the tips of my scissors, and then get yourself a lighter and just give it a little bit of heat, not too much because this stuff will burn away to nothing, and then just rub it with your fingers. I've got a black stuff on my fingers now. And I'll just trim a little bit off the edge, and you'll see that I've got a nice rounded edge there. I've also got black stuff on my fingers. Brilliant. So just tie this in. Make sure that you've got enough to come over the front of the hook shank. So not too long a body, just a little bit longer than the bend of the hook. And what I do is I do 4 turns. Now that will move. So you need to treat this like a clink hammer and come around the foam as if it was a post. And what that does is, again, 4 turns is enough. It locks everything in place. It when you go to one side or the other. Then come up with your thread and give yourself a little bit of space to tie in. Some black pheasant tail knotted. Take quite a generous bunch. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can turn the vise around and tie it in, if that helps. I just tie it in with the hook and the vise. What I do is I splay the fibre so they go either side. And then with a pinch and loop up rather than down, you secure everything. Make sure the legs are where you want them. You can pull them, obviously, to shorten them or lengthen them, just however you see fit. But you can see that they're sitting perfect there. So just lock those in with thread wraps. Then with my scissors and trim the waste away. So I've got this stuff, ultra dry yarn from Fish On. I love it. Obviously, it's not dark brown, it's white. And it's quite thick, but it's very, very buoyant. And what I'll do is I'll take a section of this to create the wings, but because it's quite thick, I'll pull half the fibres away. I want to use the whole hank. I'll pull half the fibres away. It's just a lot easier to work with. If you have too much on there, so you can see that I've halved that, and just twist it in my fingers, make it a little bit thinner. I'm going to tie it in as if I was tying in a wing. So level with the hook shank, not at an angle, just level, as if I was tying in a wing, Mario wing. And then what I do is I come over in a figure of 8 loop through the wing. And what that does is it splits them. So they're sitting either side, like wings should actually. Sitting coming out at a 45-degree angle from the, 90-degree angle for the body. The stuff's fibrous, so just make sure you pull your thread up through. You might catch a few fibers, and all I've done is figure of 8 wraps through the actual wing there. And what you can see is it's split it perfect 90 degrees, just like wings should be. And I've got Soladrini 51. It's just a jet black synthetic dubbing, better than man-made dubbing. I like this stuff, nice and shiny. And what I do is I rub a dubbing rope on there, thin, like very thin. Because it's a synthetic, it's not very bulky, you can get it stupid thin. You can see that it's really thin. And then all I'm going to do is come through the wing. Again, in that figure of 8 wraps through the wing, right wing, left wing. Work my way through, figure 8 wraps. You can see there the hackle, sorry, the wing is splayed perfect. And obviously with a controlled thread wrap, you can make it even more perfect. So just through the thread there, I've butted it up against the wing to make sure everything's sitting exactly right. Now I've got this beauty, cost me an absolute fortune. It's a grade 1 genetic cock cape. It is beautiful. And I've got a feather here that I've already used, so I just want to make sure that the barb isn't as long as the gape of the hook. It's just a little addition. It looks good on the fly. It just tidies up the whole head area as well. So I'll catch that in. Obviously catch the stem in. Have another go. Catch the stem in. And then bind it in nice and tight. Come up to the eye hook, stick a whip finish in there so I don't want nothing to slip. And then for the hackle pliers, I want to give this 3 or 4 turns. You can butt this right up against the wing as well, again creating that angle. You can see it's about the same as the barb, the gape of the hook. And just come in and lock that in place with your thread, a couple of wraps. You can go through the hackle, it wouldn't do any damage. And then bring it back up to the eye. Now the tricky bit. With your wraps, because everything's so near the eye, you want to pull that hackle back out the way and run your thread on. Make sure you've got no loose fibres, because you need a little bit of thread and a bed to pull the foam onto, like so. And then just with your thumb and forefinger, spread that hackle so that you can get the foam post up and through. It's fiddly, but you're better doing it this way and getting all the hackle in one place. One stray fibre there. Just move him back. As you can see, just a little pinch and loop. Move that little bit of hackle back. And then in front of the post to cook everything. And then just come in. Roll it finish. With the scissors and snip that. Just make sure your wing's okay. It should be because you use your hackle. And come in with an angle, 45 degrees, and cut up, same as where your foam's pulled over the back. Snip that off. You've got that little bit of angle there, but you've also got enough space to get your nylon through. Now, what I do is I tend to have the wing about the same length as the body. So I've just measured there. I know how much I want to take off the end. Now you're better taking off less rather than more. So trim a little, give yourself a little bit of space to work with. And just see how it's sitting. nearly up a couple of fibers. Let's see what that's like. That's looking good. Spot on. As you can see, just looks the part. Really, really smart looking fly. Floats all day long as well, so trying smaller sizes for the rivers and bigger sizes for the lakes. That's what I do anyway. Simple fly. Looks the part, looks like a hawthorn, and that's the key. It looks the business. Those trailing legs, those wings, that foam body, and you can rattle them up in no time. I hope you enjoyed that.